let's really look at some of the characteristics of life that we're going to focus on. So our learning term for our first notebook page is I can identify characteristics of living things. So in order to characteristically say that something is alive, it has to show growth or be able to grow. And that definition is the process of becoming larger. Today, I want you to describe or illustrate an example of growth here. It doesn't mean to just like get bigger and expand. You'll see when you watch a video, there are better examples of that. It means to like grow and develop. So like where a baby doesn't have enough muscles to stand up, they're not like not walking by choice. They just don't have the muscles developed yet to be able to walk. So they haven't actually formed words or speak language. They haven't grown enough and developed enough to become larger. So living things grow and develop, and they show growth. Another piece that's important for life is they have to be able to reproduce. So reproduction is a characteristic of life, and it is the ability to produce offspring that are similar to the parent. Homeostasis is really a cool word. Homeostasis. Say it with me. Homeostasis. Homeostasis is awesome. It's really the maintenance of stable internal conditions despite changes in surroundings. So if your surroundings get too cold, your body shivers to keep you warm. If it gets too hot, your body sweats to cool you down. If you know that there's danger, you run. If you react to something, you might jump or something like that in order to be sure to protect what you have inside. So homeostasis is the maintenance of stable internal conditions despite changes in surroundings, okay? So you're going to describe or illustrate an example here. I just gave you a couple, but you're going to watch some in a video in a minute. Stimulus is our next term. Say it with me. Stimulus. It's a change in an organism's environment that causes the organism to react. If a temperature changes, you might react. If light changes, you definitely react. Think of in the morning when that person turns on the light and you're like, it hurts. Or when Mrs. Tomlinson turns on the light bright or turns it off, your eyes definitely change to adjust to the light. Sound, if it's too loud, you might plug your ears. If it's not loud enough, you might lean forward to hear or cup your ears so that you can hear it. These are all things that happen in our environment that we need to respond to. So you also might have a response. A response is an action or change in behavior. So whether you shiver or sweat or run or scream or hide, those are responding to stimulus to maintain homeostasis and survive, right? So living things must satisfy their basic needs for energy, water, living space, and stable internal conditions. So characteristics of living things: they can grow, reproduce, they maintain their internal conditions, they respond to stimuli, okay, and they fulfill their basic needs. This is the first page of this unit, notebook page 64. Please make sure you highlight it so you know where to start studying. The next page that we're going to talk about is page 65. I know you're super excited about this, but we're going to start looking into magnification because living things also have one more characteristic. They have to have cells, okay? So we discovered cells, but not right away because we can't see small things. So our learning target is, I understand the invention of the microscope influenced the cell theory. So our first term is microscope. Say it with me. Microscope. It's an instrument that makes small objects look larger. Magnification. Say it with me. Magnification. It's the ability to make things look larger than they are. The cell theory really states that all living things are made of cells, that cells are the basic unit of living things, and all cells are produced from other cells. You can't just like generate new cells and new life from nothing or like from a piece of paper. So on page 65, you are going to watch a little video and describe how the invention of the microscope led to the cell theory. You're going to include a picture of what scientists saw, so what does a cell look like, and discuss how the cell theory was developed. This will probably take 3 to 5 sentences. Don't short yourself an explanation and enjoy the fun video watching of how the cell theory came to be. Our last page today is actually about the cell. And what you'll find is that scientists like to categorize things. So what I want you to be able to do is explain that all living things are made of cells. You need to be able to define cell, not a prison cell. Not a prison cell. a biotic cell of a living thing. It's the basic structural unit for all living things. So if something was alive, it had cells or has cells, or you can locate cells that are decomposing or in the middle of decomposing. There are two kinds of There are two kinds of organisms, okay? One kind is a unicellular organism, like a unicycle with one wheel. Unicellular means one single cell. So they're organisms with one single cell. And today, you're going to draw and label at least two examples of unicellular organisms. They're cool-looking little jelly bubble things with tails and flagella and all kinds of neat stuff. And then you're going to look at some multicellular organisms that are composed of many cells. And you're going to list 6 to 10 of those multicellular organisms here. Just a hint, it's everything that's not unicellular. On the bottom of notebook page 66, you're going to describe and give an example of 3 different types of cells that make up a multicellular organism. There are different types of cells in your body. You have muscle cells, tissue cells. You have cells that make up your bones that are different than the cells that make up your heart and your muscles and your tongue and your stomach lining. All different kinds of cells, all different kinds of purposes. You're going to read and learn about them today. This is super exciting. Life